Well, hello again, everybody, and I guess when it all comes down to it, my channel is about that famous quote from The Truman Show, uh, we accept the reality we're presented. Because I don't believe in this reality, or I think, most people, they're just used to a certain way of life. Culture is a thin veneer of familiarity, and that's why I took multicultural literature in high school, because different cultures aren't a failed attempt at being you, but a unique manifestation of the human spirit, or just a different interpretation of reality. Like maybe other cultures, they live differently, so they experience different things. All these different cultures have stories. Like in Japan, they have kappas, which were they inspired the I think those turtles from Mario, the Koopas. What else? I don't know. I'm sure in Africa they have so many stories about all these evil spirits or whatever. And actually, a lot of ancient cultures in India, they all say they have gods that came from a certain star. They all talk about the same star. The aliens coming from the same star. And they all have the same description of them being like alligators that stood up, and they were called Dagon, which sounds like dragon. And I think in Japan, some cultures have that story too. But so today I want to talk about some common misheld beliefs about the soy industry, or a lot of industries in general, and the soy industry is what I want to talk about, because soy has been more talked about in the news, or you just hear about it all the time, because soy is widely used in a lot of things these days. It used to be it's been growing in China for thousands of years, because tofu comes from there, and soy sauce, and I think natto is soybeans too. So soybeans are grown in Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, India, I would say China, Japan, and Canada, and the United States. The United States actually grows more soy than any other country, but the thing about soy is, a lot of people say, oh, it's another big reason why there's so much destruction in the Amazon rainforest. And, you should point the fingers at vegans, because, buying soy dogs and all this soy-based stuff. Well, actually, I'm vegan. I don't eat soy. I mostly eat fruits and vegetables. There's no reason to, if you're vegan, you don't have to eat soy. And actually, if you, no matter what you eat, or I guess if you eat the standard American diet, there's definitely soy in your diet, because it's used in a bunch of processed foods, including beef jerky, many sauces, and that come from restaurants or fast food chains. Soy is in even plant milks, like almond milk. They have soy less than as I think a preservative, and I'm sure it's used in baked goods, and it's used in infant formula. Yeah, infant formula baked goods include bread, cookies, crackers, canned soups and broths, canned meat and tuna. I said infant formula, and high protein energy bars. So it's added to a lot of stuff. Always definitely check the ingredients on everything. Yes, even your toothpaste, your shampoo, your just energy bars, or And that's why the best stuff is homemade, like homegrown. That you know what kind of soil they grew in, or yeah, it's always better to grow your own food because that has the highest energy because it hasn't traveled so far. Lowest economic footprint or carbon footprint. Just tastes better, you put effort into it. Um, yeah, always check the ingredients. Even if it has like a certain sticker that says it's like kosher or vegan or whatever, just like I always check the ingredients. Like I don't think it's that big a deal. I mean, yes, if it bothers you that much, if it's that big problem for you, uh, it matters what your values are, what you prioritize. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about the soy industry. Now I was reading a book called was let's see, it was called uh, Starved by Ross Patel, and Stuffed and Starved. It was about why there are so many people who are obese, but then again, there are a ton of people on the earth that are starving. So, it doesn't really add up. It's about how the food industry has changed dramatically in industrialized countries. Because, I mean, I also read a book, Wheat Belly said the cost of industrialization or having a developed nation is um, is obesity, and I mean, I live in an industrialized nation, and I mean, you don't have to eat those things. You don't have to eat fast food or whatever. Uh, I'm sure that there were plenty of times in human history, probably before the Industrial Revolution, when people they just didn't eat some days because they either weren't hungry, they maybe they wanted to do a fast for religious reasons, or like they couldn't find anything because hunter gatherers. No, food just wasn't as abundant there. Like if you wanted nuts, walnuts, or cashews, which aren't nuts, peanuts, which aren't nuts, pecans, whatever. You couldn't buy like a whole jar from the store and get maybe I don't know quarter pound of it, like 5 ounces of it. Uh, yeah, you just ate it like one by one, and I mean now our foods are designed to be addictive. Like I just learned the fast food in India is actually I think has like twice as much sugar or salt as fast food in America. So I mean obviously fast food no matter where it comes from is poison. Europe's I guess better than other places, but I mean these foods are designed to be addictive. They put chemicals in there to get you to want to eat more and more of it. Uh, it's just food is naturally it's not addictive. Like there's a difference between almonds that are just regular almonds and almonds that have been covered in chocolate or whatever. Um, oh yeah, and the pharmaceutical industry is in bed with the fast food industry. I mean, you always want to follow the money. Like these people running the industries, they're smart. The people that consumers flock to, they know how to manipulate the masses. They put sugar in everything because that's addictive. Uh, and they make people addicted to like sausages and eggs and cheeseburgers, hamburgers could run carcinogens. Because, I mean, once you get the diseases that those foods cause, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, stroke, um, like heart attack, cardiovascular diseases, or, I mean, even if you get arthritis or from inflammation, or, let's see, arthritis, and what else is there? Just certain organs not working as well, like clogged arteries. Uh, like you're gonna need to go to the pharmaceutical industry and buy medicine from them. So it usually doesn't work. Might even make it worse. And so I mean, avoid the pharmacy. Avoid the fast food industry definitely, because they're like the same industry. Like they had this plan once. They started to make people more fat. So they encourage eating fat. They knew that okay, then people are gonna need to eat low fat stuff, so they'll eat more carbohydrates, and like there's more sugar in that, so they'll try to lose weight more. So they'll buy these lose weight things, and like it doesn't work, and then they'll just spend more. And yeah, so obviously make your own stuff, like 3 ingredient energy bars, just dates, raisins, and almonds. That's really easy, because I mean all store bought stuff is like poison. Yeah, it's designed to make you eat more, and full of endocrine disruptors, mutagens, carcinogens, neurotoxins. Um, let's see. Oh, when I read that book, Stuffed and Starved, also talk about the soy industry in Brazil. There's like some slave labor there that, just these, once the, chaparral, that's what they called the, land that was the Amazon rainforest, which was converted into, like, cow fields, places to raise cattle. And, oh, by the way, the soybeans, 85 to 95% of them are to feed the cattle and poultry and pigs and whatever. So yeah, I think only 3% is used for human food. Let's see, Chaparral, it talked about that region being converted into, after the cattle have taken their toll in it, and it can't be used for cattle anymore. It's used for raising soybeans. Let's see this. It talks about when word about slave labor got out to like a place in America, because they have more restrictions on, in developed nations they have more restrictions on the whole idea of slave labor and free labor, or fair labor. So this farmer, the manager of whole soybean plantation, who he employed, quote unquote, employed all these other people to just work on these soybean plantations like slaves, people getting no pay at all. The manager, once he heard that 2 people were coming from a certain agency in America to check on his soybean plantation, he got a shotgun, and like he drove out to where he thought they were coming from and murdered the 2 people who were gonna investigate it. So I mean, and there is slave labor also in the fishing industry, because a lot of people are taken on the streets, and either being unconscious or drugged, and then they wake up on fishing vessels, and they're forced to work long hours without any pay, and so slave labor in the fishing industry, and I think also in the like cocoa industry, or I mean that might be more in the past, but I mean a lot of times in the cocoa industry, like in Africa, they take children and they say they'll be paid fairly and stuff, and then they're like being unconscious, and I mean the whole food system's pretty messed up. People like, yes, these days it's a spreading disease where people just value things or money over people, which I mean I think in the West or in the East, at least traditionally, like they valued people over things, or I mean there are still some places that value people over things. Like I know I heard a story about Ireland where they just barter for things, and they're okay with people not being able to pay the full amount for stuff at flea markets and stuff. And but I mean with industrialization and society, it's just people, they value things or money over people and health. And I mean we don't account for the environmental cost, the social cost, or the public health costs when people use all these chemicals. Like I know Monsanto, the reason they make soybeans GMO, reason why I think 97% of all soybeans are GMO. I read that if the soybeans weren't GMO, the Roundup that they spray would kill the soybeans. So as long as they don't spray the Roundup, they don't have to make them GMO. Or I guess when they don't make them GMO, they don't spray Roundup. Yeah, Roundup is designed to kill everything because it's really bad for the environment, and it's just really potent at killing everything except GMOs. I know you should do some research into Monsanto because they do some bad stuff with all the chemical research, and they research on humans. And I also want to talk about the cotton industry and why you'll also hear with vegans talk about hemp and why like supporting the hemp industry is better. Firstly, hemp can produce, on average, 1 acre of hemp produces 2 to 3 times as much fabric as 1 acre of cotton. So it's more efficient. Hemp uses a third of the water that is used to grow cotton. Let's see. The hemp plant is also really good for detoxifying the soil. It removes pollutants and harmful chemicals from the soil, and it replenishes it with nitrogen and oxygen. So that's like win-win. And also, the cotton industry can really take a toll on the soil. Let's see, 25% of insecticides and 10% of chemicals used in the agricultural industry are used for growing cotton, and hemp can be grown with far less. Hemp can be grown with far less chemicals, or sometimes none, no chemicals at all. Let's see, hemp is 3 to 8 times stronger, so it's more durable. It lasts longer than any cotton fabric. Also, it's more breathable and water absorbent and UV protectant fabric. It's more breathable. Um, yeah, those are all the reasons why hemp is. I mean, again, when I talked about hemp, I know this shirt is Egyptian cotton. Well, actually, it was a gift, but I mean, when they're so cotton is so popular and it's what's available, I guess it's not terrible to buy cotton, but again, it's I mean, a lot of your carbon footprint depends on how much you buy new clothes. Because I mean, the um fashion industry does almost just as much like environmental devastation as animal agriculture. Because I mean, if you've ever seen the documentary Blue River, it's about how there are rivers in Asia where you can predict the like in fashion color of the next season by the color of the water in the rivers. Not because there's anything special about the rivers, but because there are a lot of factories that manufacture clothes in those areas in Southeast Asia that just dump a ton of the chemicals and dyes into the river. I mean, this pillow's hemp. It was made in Ukraine. It came all the way from Ukraine. And this hat's hemp. I don't know where it came from. Uh, I don't know. I guess it just isn't a big industry in the U.S. because I mean, cannabis is legal, which I don't know why it should be legalized in all 50 states. Like, come on, the only reason why cannabis isn't legal, why we can't smoke weed all the time, is because money. Like, it costs money. If it was legalized, the paper industry would like be in big trouble because hemp can replace paper. And I think it can also be used to make a shampoo and pretty much anything. Like, hemp is so versatile. Plus, I mean, the hemp seeds are, like, they have all of the nutrients you need. That's why, if hemp was legal, it'd be so much easier to um, be vegan or, I don't know, it's just, like, weed makes people happy, so why isn't it legal? Like, there are so many documentaries about it now where alcohol, which is legal, kills 188,000 people a year. I mean, it causes drunk driving and everything. Like, also damages the liver. Uh, by the way, beer has more more estrogen in it than soy. I think it has 50 times as much estrogen in it. Um, let's see. Tobacco kills 180,000 people a year. But, I mean, it makes money, and marijuana kills no one. So, I mean, just legalize it already. Please, legalize marijuana. There's no reason why it helps so many people. Fully legalized. I think it should be fully legalized for recreational use, medical use, and everything. Because I know a lot of people who don't, like, qualify for really for the medicinal marijuana. Like, they don't have seizures or anything like that. But I mean, they were in band with me, and they say once they've tried playing high, like, after taking marijuana, they play a lot better because it just calms the nerves. Like, I think these plants, there's a reason they're illegal, because our species was meant to take them, like peyote, ashwagandha, well, ashwagandha's not hallucinogenic, psilocybin, psilocybin mushrooms, um, see, ayahuasca. There's a reason why our brain has receptors for it, so we should like, our obviously our species was meant to take them. Like there's the stoned ape hypothesis, which is when the idea that our evolution started when an ape decided to eat a mushroom, a hallucinogenic mushroom, and that turned us human. So some other false beliefs I want to talk about was that fish is actually healthier, like more heart healthy than over red meat. No, actually, 3 ounces of steak contains, I think, seven grams of cholesterol, and 3 ounces of just shrimp contains 161 grams of cholesterol. So I mean, these things are still high in cholesterol. Plus, I mean, all the seafood is really high in PCBs, mercury, arsenic. Like, I mean, the water is so polluted. This ocean has become so polluted that, and if you wouldn't just drink water from the water resources, those bodies of water that the seafood comes from, why would you eat the fish that's around it all day? Another Misheld belief that soy feminizes you, and I mean, it does have estrogen, but beer has 50 times as much of it. Plus, it damages the liver, and that means the liver is less efficient at getting rid of the estrogen. And cow's milk is also really high in estrogen. It has more estrogen than soy, and I mean, I bet a lot of things have estrogen. Not just soy, not just cow's milk, not just beer. I don't know any of them off the top of my head, but sure a lot of things. But I mean, shouldn't really worry about these things. Like, I don't know why people so concerned about what they eat, because as long as it's not damaging the environment, like the human body is so efficient at getting rid of toxins, like all those neurotoxins and endocrine disruptors and uh, mutagens and carcinogens that are in all the food we eat today, like especially the processed food. Like, as long as you're not exposed to it like every day, because I mean, people back before big industries, before the Industrial Revolution, they would only catch diseases like cancer, mutations, I don't know, whatever you get from built up, a buildup of all these carcinogens and endocrine disruptors and whatever. They would only have problems from just repeated exposure, high exposure every day. Like, I know in India they have high fluoride, sodium fluoride content in their water. And other places they also have high natural. The sodium fluoride just occurs naturally in their water heavily. But I mean, in India, I know they eat a lot of turmeric and tamarind pretty much every day, and I mean, those things are really good for helping the body eliminate fluoride. So I think you should definitely eat more turmeric, tamarind, because I mean, turmeric is good for getting rid of fluoride because of the high curcumin content. Curcumin's in, I think, paprika. It's in pretty much any pepper, like black pepper. By the way, turmeric is more bioavailable when it's eaten in addition with uh, black pepper. So, I mean, the curcumin is really good for getting rid of antioxidant or inflammation-caused diseases, which, like, all diseases are pretty much caused by inflammation. And, I mean, the curcumin in turmeric is prescribed to people for getting rid of arthritis or any injury caused by inflammation. Another Misheld belief. I guess that dairy is healthy for you because, I mean, no, the same countries around the world that have the highest rate of dairy intake also have the highest rate of osteoporosis. So, no, um, cow's milk does contain calcium, but also contains sulfuric acid. So, the body needs to release calcium from the bones in order to neutralize the sulfuric acid. Uh, and I mean, calcium. It's from the from plants the cow ate. Like the cow ate grass, or and humans can eat grass, but broccoli, spinach, kale has calcium. I guess spinach, kale, collard greens, dandelion greens, really high in calcium. Walnuts are high in calcium. Almonds are high in calcium, iron, and endive is high in calcium. So I mean, all of the nutrients you get from animals comes from the plants the animal ate. So I mean, if you know about trophic levels, once the animal eats it, the energy from the plants is reduced by 90%. So you only 10% of the energy the animal got from the plants. Um, and also the animal is taking out all the fiber, which is really like our bodies are designed for fiber. Like, how do you think most of human history, like everything had fiber in it? That's why people they weren't as obese because everything they ate had fiber in it, so that made you not get as hungry all the time. Let's see, other Misheld beliefs. There are tons out there. Definitely do your research. Guess that we accept the reality we are presented. That's the highest, biggest Misheld belief I can think of. I mean, some people are programmed, like by a traumatic event at birth, to maybe not want to try new things. Or I know in that movie, The Truman Show, he was traumatized by losing his dad when they were sailing, so he never wanted to sail. Or I also want to talk about the entity versus continual growth hypothesis, where if you have the entity perspective, you think, okay, you're just the type of person who, like, if you try one thing at one time, if you try, I don't know, driving a car, or being a mail carrier, or being a, I don't know, dentist, or being a wood carver, someone who carves wood, or meditating, or drawing, being an artist, or if you try math, and the first time you didn't do that good at it, just say, I'm just not a good test taker, or math person, or artist, or whatever. Like, the NT perspective, those people, they practice at it, so they want to get better. Like, that's how you get better. You practice. Like, all the famous people I've read, they, like, LeBron James, or Michael Jordan, basketball player, lots of famous actors like Katy Perry, Elvis Presley, they got turned down many, many times before, but even Marilyn Monroe, they thought she wouldn't make it. Like, a lot of people were told they don't have talent. I think Robin Williams was told he doesn't have talent, but no, they just kept trying. That's the NAD perspective. And okay, so don't worry about anything. Your body is programmed to get rid of toxins and be able to survive. And remember, life finds a way. I guess that's the message I want you to get.